Hello. Welcome to all distinguished guests, participants, and also thank you very much for all keynote speakers, especially for Prof. Celestine Iwendi from University of Bolton, UK. And thank you very much for all participants, for all fellow committee and staff of Camil 2021, and also for our sponsors. Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, if anyone pursues a path in search of knowledge, Allah will then by make easy for him a path to paradise. And he who is made slow by his actions will not speeded by his genealogy. Hopefully, we are who participated in Adiwidya 2021, blessed by privilege which is mentioned on the hadith of Rasulullah SAW above. May we will meet the next Adiwidya in 2022, and of course other events by Kamil Pasasarian ITB. That's all that I can speak today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon.
Well, thank you, Kang Nugra, for opening remark. And ladies and gentlemen, now we are ready for the international webinar session 2. The theme of this international webinar is how to make a good paper, with the keynote speaker, Professor Celestine Iwendi, and our moderator, Mr. Said Habibullah. And before that, we are going to invite you to have a photo session first. So we invite all the participants, keynote speaker, and also our moderator to open the camera so our team can capture our moment in this afternoon. Well, everyone, please open your camera so the community can capture slide by slide in this Zoom meeting. Well, let's start with the first slide. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Nice. The next slide, please. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Well, we have several slides left. And the next slide, please. 1, 2, and 3. Very nice. The next slide, please. It's fourth slide, right? Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And here is the last slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. And well, before we start our session, I would like to introduce our moderator first. Our moderator is Mr. Said Habibullah. Mr. Said Habibullah had finished his bachelor degrees in architecture program in Gajah Mada University 2018. And now continuing study in Master of Architecture in Institut Teknologi Bandung. His work experience starts on December 2018 till September 2020 as an architect in Shirvano Consulting, PT KLP, and also as a freelance architect till today. And his current position is the Chief of Technology Officer in Pondok Huda Properties. Mr. Said Habibullah has several great achievements. Recently, in 2021, he got a second winner Green Building Appropriate Site Development Design Competition in Bandung, Indonesia. And in the same year, 2021, he has got honorable mention International Design Competition in Naga, Philippines. And in 2020, he got a first winner of English Proficiency Olympiad in Pontianak, Indonesia. Well, without any further ado, please welcome our moderator, Mr. Said. Hi, Mr. Said. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Haryo. I'm fine, thanks.
Okay. Are you ready to guide us for this discussion?
Of course, I'm very ready.
Okay. And without any further ado, I give time to you, Mr. Said.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Haryo. Hello, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. Allow me to host this session as the moderator for a very interesting talk that we're going to have today under the title of How to Make a Good Paper. This will And after we've discussed many different topics surrounding the topic of smart city in this conference, I think it is very appropriate that we supplement and we close the conference with a topic that will help us to act upon the knowledge that we've gathered and to produce effective publications that could further contribute for innovations and advancements in the topic of smart city and others. This afternoon, we are very fortunate to have a distinguished guest with us today. And before we begin, allow me to introduce our honorable speaker this afternoon. First of all, I would like to welcome Professor Celestine Iwendi as the speaker for this session. Professor Iwendi is a visiting professor for Cole City University at Enugu, Nigeria, and also an associate professor with the School of Creative Technologies at the University of Bolton in the United Kingdom. He received his BSc and MSc from Nnamdi Azikiwe University at Nigeria, and also an MSc from Uppsala University at Sweden. He also received his PhD in electronics from University of Aberdeen at United Kingdom. Professor Iwendi is also a fellow of the Higher Education Academy at United Kingdom and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. His past assignments include electronics and sensor researcher at University of Aberdeen at United Kingdom, and also lead electronics engineer at Isabtinal Limited at United Kingdom, and also an electronics engineer at Nitel, Nigeria. He is a supervisor and also co-supervisor of several graduate students and a mentor to ACM student members at SAGE University at Indore, India. Sensor networks, cybersecurity, machine learning, data network, and etc. He has authored over 60 peer-reviewed articles, and he has served as a chair on top conferences and workshops. He is a distinguished speaker at ACM, and he is currently serving as the newsletter editor and a board of member at IEEE Sweden section. He is a student branch counselor and mentoring several PhD students in AI, robotics, Internet of Things, and also blockchain. He is also a community developer, a philanthropist, and also an international speaker in many top conferences and webinars. So we are very fortunate to have Professor Celestine Iwendi with us this afternoon. So a very welcome to you, sir. And without further ado, I would like to hand the floor over to Professor Celestine Iwendi.
All right, thank you very much for having me. All right. Can I share my slide now?
Yes, Professor, you may share your slide using the share screen feature.
Okay. All right. I want to thank everyone today for coming to this conference. It's going to be 30 minutes, but I'm trying to make sure that I give you some things that you need in terms of research, and how you can have a good paper. Number one is when you talk about paper, you are looking at how you can make your work known to others. It's not just about you. It's not just about your ideas, but it's also about what you think from your creativity, what you can put down. Now, paper is not about that you don't speak English, or that you speak Indonesian, or that you speak Chinese, or you speak European, or you speak, no. When we judge paper, we judge it by the contents in the paper. So, because everybody thinks, oh, I have to write good English. Of course, we have some areas, but a good reviewer does not judge any paper based on your language. They judge it based on process. I will explain those process. On the process, if your English is poor, of course, if I'm reviewing it and I'm an English speaking, some people can be biased, you know. When they are biased, they go and say, oh, he doesn't speak good English. Oh, he has grammatical errors. Some journals will tell you, hey, those papers don't mark their English, but mark the process, because they can always tell them, look for an English person to make it work. Those are the areas I'm going to explain on. Someone says to me in my research, want to do, somebody has done it. And I said, yes. If you want to do PhD, it's what I call knowing more and more of less and less. And I said, if you have a topic that somebody has done it before, does not make you not to do it again. You know, in other words, what people have done, you can pick it, rephrase it, change the topic. And when you have that line and you put it in Google and anywhere, and nobody has written the whole line, that means your work is novel. Someone may have written some parts of the words. Let's say you have 10 words. Someone may have written some part of it. Yes, those ones who have written some part of it is what we call those references you will cite that will give you clue to your paper. So I tell people, how do you know novel? How do you know recent work? Don't go and cite work of 1960, 1940, 2000. Cite current work, 2021, 2000, 2020. Why? Because in every paper, at the end of the paper, there's what we call conclusion. And in every conclusion, there's what we call future works. So if you are looking for research, I'm giving you a hint. Now, if you're looking for research, look for a current paper on your idea, look for that paper, look at their conclusion, look at their future work. Their future work is a project proposal for you. So there are three kinds of people: those who create problems, those who solve problems, and those who sit down to what the problems and their solutions. So when we talk about research, you look at the citation index, because you want to publish in a good place. Concept, you don't just want to publish in anywhere, you want to first check, what is the citation? Will it help my school to increase? Will it help me in my H index? Will it help you, to get a job? When they say, where did you publish your paper? You say, oh, I published it in one journal. They say, what is the H impact? Is it a SCI bonus? So most of the places for your job, for good qualifications, for masters, for PhD, to see that you publish in at least Scopus journal. So I will look at this briefly. Number one, I said, challenges of your research, how to publish a paper idea. The core of everything you do, of your creativity, is what you can think out. I got one idea because I saw, these ants going to kill, how they ate one chicken, in the farm. And I'm like, how did these ants move? They were all, we call them soldier ants, they moved and they went and killed a chicken and ate everything. In the morning we came out, we couldn't see one bone. They carried everything. So I was thinking, and I said, can we have sensors move like this? And do we have cyber, something blocking the ant? So I tried to block. And then when I block it, I saw the ants move. And I call it ant colony security mechanism. I got an idea from there. Sometimes you don't most of the time get idea by just sitting down and reading. Sometimes you get idea as a computer scientist in agric. Sometimes you get into so many problems. So, but the concept of good paper is your ability to think out a problem. So look for where there are problems. Because in every problem, there is a solution. And that solution is your research paper. That is what you put down. Sometimes the ideas can be versatile. It can be so much. I know some of you are like, I'm writing paper. I don't know how to make the idea. I have so many things in my head. It's understandable. But I tell you, put it down. Write it down. Write one. Write two. One of my students was having that. I said, right, yes. What do you want to do? I want to do this. Yes. What do you want to do? At the end, I brought the all ideas together. And I said, this is your thesis. And the student was happy. So sometimes when you write it down, you begin to put 1 + 1 together. By the time you put them together, look at research papers on that topic. I will show you that in my slide. So how you disseminate this research paper matter, because you can have idea and your idea will die in the kitchen if you cannot make it known to others. So these are the things I'm showing you in this brief time. So in indexing, the citations, how you make articles, they were naturally designed for researchers to search subsequent articles and cite them in papers, invented by Dr. Eugene. But now, it's now, in terms of job, when you go for interview, they say, how many papers have you written? What is your insight? What is your Google index? What is your, so and you begin to wonder, do I need to have citation? Yes, you need to. Now it is now into job, into even university upgrading. You see some schools, we say, we are now ranked number 1, we are now ranked number 5, we are now ranked this, because they have now used the research by the collective research of the department, of the lecturers there, is now making it, So you see why countries like Indonesia, some Africa, and others are not having, because we are not interested. It's not that we're not interested. Sometimes you get discouraged that you can write, and you can write and publish, and so that your school name and your own name will be moving up in the index level, So we have the ISI, Institute of Scientific Information, Then why do literature search? We do literature search so that we don't waste time doing something somebody else has done. Why did I say cite current research? I say cite current research because you may have a problem in 1960. Let's say, no, 1960 is too far. Let's say 1990. And when I look at that research, I look at the conclusion. I looked at the future work. And I said, the future work, this is good. I want to take it as my research. 1990 paper, conclusion. When I now go through that 1990 research paper, I take their work and I start looking at it. And then I start working without checking other papers. By the time I have finished and spent 3 months or more working on that research, I'll discover somebody else has gotten that idea. There was something that happened, I was sleeping, and it was like an angel woke me up in the night. I was drawing very good diagram of sensor, how you can use it in the farm. And I woke up, I called my wife. I said, hey, darling, I got a good idea. I'm going to make this idea work. And she told me, what is the idea? And I told her, I was using sensors to chase away birds and animals. And my wife just put it in Google. Remember, I've not seen this idea before. She just put it in Google. She said, that idea has been developed. I'm like, is there everything has been done? What is the new thing again? And I was discouraged. But later I learned I shouldn't be discouraged, because my own solution that I got without reading anything may be different from what is already been. You see, so idea why you do literature research is to avoid wasting time, to avoid wasting effort, and to also avoid wasting fund. And also you do literature to avoid plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is when I copy somebody's work verbatim, the same, without changing it, without citing them. Now, those days, we put quotation, you cite and you say quotation, you copy and say quotation. No, now it's wrong. You have to use your own English. That is why I tell students, when you are tired, don't copy and paste. It's very easy now when you're using computer, you just copy and we'll change it later. You end up having plagiarism problem. And then when the paper is checked in a Trinitron or any plagiarism software, they say you copied, 40% copied, and it's against the law. Your paper should be, in most papers, below 20%, because there are some mathematical analysis, especially people in computer science, in engineering. There are some mathematical analysis that will be the same. There are some keywords that will be the same. So we now say, okay, give it 20%. But my papers, I make sure they are in between 10%, plagiarism. That means if you check it, you discover they are more creation. I like to read and change the words and still cite where you got the idea. Take note, That you change the words does not make you to just, without citing them. When you write an idea, where did you get the idea from? Is it your own? Is it somewhere else, but you changed it? You still have to cite the person. Then we have Institute of ISI. I don't want to dwell so much here. SCI, like I've mentioned, social SSCI. These are places that talk about, how papers are cited and your citing work. So your publication should be more than Scopus, to be SCI. What do you call them SCI? The ones that have impact factor. Some papers will have 3 points, 2 points, 0 point. As long as he has enough, it is possible. You see. Then we have where all the papers are there, all the journals. So sometimes you want to check which journal, where will you send the paper? You check those journals, and then you see, oh, this journal belongs to this. So it helps you once you go to the website. Then this is a website. You say Web of Science. You just put the journal name, and once you put the journal name, it shows you whether that journal is highly rated. Because the one that is highly rated is the one that will give you good citation, is the one that will give your school good lifting. So this is IS Web of Knowledge. You check it wherever you're sending your papers to. Then the citation symbolizes consensual association, references, because we need references, we cite them in papers. So we link them, Someone told me one day and said, oh, I have citation. I have long, big citation. I said, good. If the citations make sense, how do they make sense? By the references. So we can say arrow contains a reference to C, and C has a citation from R. So, we have it in bibliography. You cite yourself even when you're doing your work. Somebody said, I don't want to cite myself. I say, if you don't cite yourself, then there's no continuity. You can't get funding. If you are applying for funding and I check your funding, proposal, and I don't see a continuity of your work, then because someone will say, oh, I have paper cited, none of this, no self-citation. I said, then you are creating ideas every day. That means you don't have continuity. So at least cite 3 of your papers in every paper. It shows that you are except it's a different idea from what you are doing. But if it is the same area, let's say cybersecurity, different types of attacking or machine learning, then you have to cite something you have done before to help you, understand, to help readers understand where you got your ideas that you're implementing. Then we have, arrow contains that, C has a citation of arrow, and then we can say this citation index, paper C contains that in citation. We have the Web of Science also. Then you navigate through all of them. Like I said, advantages of them is that no subjective judgment to be made with relevant descriptor. It helps you to check which of the papers are already cited or indexed. Now, sometimes we have one problem because some of them are expensive. I know that's where some of you will come into those papers. Some have what we call APC, article publication cost, some $2,000, That is where one area I will tell you is important. Connection. When I say connection, meet people. One of the areas like IEEE, ACM, the more people you know, the more the channel of miracles. The more people you know, the more the channel of papers you will have. Why? Because you will have some people who have the funding. You have the idea, you have the paper, but they have the funding. So you team up with them. And then they pay while you publish. So that is why I tell people, including my students, belong to association, join LinkedIn, meet up with people, meet up with some, what you call mentors. Like now I'm looking for a lot of students who have good idea, who can create something. And then I'll tell you, hey, and I have venues, I have funding. I can tell you, oh, do you have this idea? I will look at your paper and then I will make sure that it's published. Your job is to deliver the paper quality. And then my job is to make sure any funding is paid for or it is published. So, but if you don't know me, you have the idea, but you cannot publish. And don't insist to be on number 1, because most of the time, a good paper comes from a good ranking professor. So make sure that because they are expensive. The ones that are free, they are very difficult. We publish in all of them, and then you see most papers will say they only need 10. and you will see make all the announcement. So these are the things you need to know about papers and citation. Bibliometric, it will keep increasing. Like we said, most of them are English-based. So the ones that are not English-based becomes a problem, And then these are what we call bias in citation databases, because some of us are like, why must it all be in English? So some of us are pushing that other languages should also be encouraged, but it takes time, it takes time to get highly cited authors from different language that is not English. Now, so you check those research index, citation contest, full text index, and all that. It helps you to increase your citation index. Now, how does it work? You download the papers, you convert them to text, obtain citations, and store them in database. So it helps you, either you're using RefWorks or you're using bibliotext, that is if you're using Overleaf. You are using Overleaf for that. Then you have what do you call it again? Web Science for crawling, document acquisition. Most of the time they are in a repository. If you have that, let's say again, document parsing. I want to go into a very important area for you because of our time. There are a lot of areas of improvement. Scopus, I've mentioned Scopus, for people to cite their papers and do a lot for Scopus and the Web of Science journals. These are all there. Now, but let me come into here, how to make a good paper. I drew this, make this picture, and over a lot of people have downloaded it. In fact, some people are even posting it as if it is their own work, but it's okay. We're sharing knowledge to make sure people go around. When you look at a paper, when a reviewer look at a paper, what do I look for in a paper? I look for, in the introduction, I look for what, why, how. 3 things. What, why, how. That is, what is this person talking about? Why is he doing this research? How did he come up to this research? In other words, it's answering the research question. And it's a summary of your proposal. Remember, you don't write abstract without completing your paper, because your abstract is the conglomeration of everything, every idea, everything in your paper. That's why we always say that abstract is different from your paper. Some people will say, okay, let's say I use AI in abstract. I define it before I use it, because you have to define every time. So I say, artificial intelligence is so. And then I say artificial intelligence in bracket AI in abstract. If I want to use it from introduction, I must define it again as artificial intelligence in bracket AI. Why? Some people say, oh, I've defined it in abstract. I don't need to define it again. I say, no, abstract is out of your paper. It's not always counted as the main paper. Abstract is your whole paper in summary, 200 words. That is abstract. So when I teach, I tell people, forget abstract. Begin from introduction, because abstract is what you write after your paper has been produced, after you have finished everything about your paper. So you look at what, why, how in every write-up. So when you finish with that, when you have this goal, when you have this flow chart, it helps you to know what you're actually doing. What am I doing? What am I solving? What problem am I solving? Why am I solving it? Why do I need to solve it? That's why you say introduction. You tell some stories from your paper citation, and then you write what the reason why you are doing it. And then you write it more. Then you now go into the literature review. Where you look at literature on topic, literature on method. Someone will say, I don't have information on my literature paper. My proposal, I don't know what to say. I said, what is your idea? Go through every other pages, go through IEEE, science, IEEE Explore, go through ACM, you will find something about that. So you write literature on topic, literature on the method you are going to use, literature on method, how was this done before? Then theoretical approach, what was the theory they employ in this? Why? How? That means in every paper, there's always a limitation. In every paper you read, there is something they assumed they did not finish. So you find a hole. You look for debate. And you also look at their conclusion in terms of looking for what 5 features. Let's say machine learning. Oh, we consider 5 features. What of other features? Why did they not consider it? This is why and how they did their work. That is literature review. So when you are reading any, to build up your literature review is to check literature on topic. You read it, you put it down. Literature on method, you put it down. Your theoretical approach. Why? Because the theoretical approach will give you your own theoretical approach. Most of the time, a paper may be to improve what has been done before. So any paper that is very similar to what you are doing becomes your base paper. A base paper is a paper you compare with at the end of your research. That means you can say, this person did so, but I am now doing this. It got 50% in different algorithm, but now I am now getting 95%. That is why in areas like vaccine medicine, we say Pfizer is 80 something, the other AstraZeneca, is the other percent, different things. You see, why? Because of the way they analyze it. So you find a hole. If a hole is a mistake, what did they not finish? A hole is what have they not concluded? Then you come into methodology. Methodology, you look at research design, research proposal. What is your design? This is where your figure comes in. Figures are very important. Ability to think, that's why I said idea. Because your idea must be in figure form. Put it down. Sometimes I write it in sketch. And I tell someone, I say, hey, I need some idea. I need a creative, crazy idea. I have seen the idea, but I need the diagram. And a good artist will put down for me. I say, yes. Then when I see it, I say, no, correct this, correct that, because I am the one who had the idea. So I put the design first. In that I have in my brain, I put it down in figures. Because when you look at the figures, it becomes easy for you to know what should be there, what should not be there. So don't always forget figures. Figures, including flow chart, including steps, the process, you write it down. That is why I say research procedure, what will come before this. That is why most of the time, if you write a good paper, always have an algorithm. An algorithm is the step-by-step of how your research was carried out. So for engineering students, you always have an algorithm of what you did and this and that in a block form, for any reader to read. Sometimes you have 3 algorithms, depending on what you're solving. Now, kind of data. Data, if your data is wrong, your result will be wrong. So where you get your data from matters a lot. Where you get your data from. IEEE, good enough, after this COVID, a lot of people are now bringing, IEEE has opened up. As IEEE member, I belong to Dataport, so I could get any data. Sometimes I ask my friends, I say, I'm working on this idea. I'm looking for idea on security. They'll give me some link. And sometimes, like one of the papers we publish on COVID, in Frontier, we put in our code there. And then it has over 121 citations, just last year paper, and then it has over 35,000 reading. So a lot of people go there to pick our data, because the data is there. So most of the journals are now encouraging people to add your data. So make sure you add your data when you have done research, and put it in GitHub, where people can also, and then link it to your paper so that because people can cite you. Not because of your paper, they cite you because of the data that you supplied. So it will also increase your H-index, So data is very important, kind of data. Methodology is how did you do this work? Then you look at selection and process. What are these assets? What are the step-by-step? That's where it comes in human subject review. If it is ethics statement is, for example, I'm going to collect data from children. In EU here, I can't just collect data of children and put it online in my paper. No, I have to sign an ethics form, that what I'm collecting will not, I can't use this. In fact, I can't use your picture without your permission. So the laws are becoming very strong on privacy so that people can have some privacy. So you have what we call ethics statement. Then methodology is where the cost and funding is. You're having a good paper, you are going to have, what do you call it? The cost. And the cost comes from your timetable. What is the timeline? Timeline of your research. If you're going to do your master's thesis, what is the timeline? Your bachelor thesis, what is your timeline? So in your proposal, you should be able to list your timeline. 2 to 3 weeks, I will read this. 3 to 4 weeks, I will read that. 4 weeks, 5 weeks to this, I will start with methodology. 5 weeks to that, 10 weeks, I will begin to process it, and then by this, I will start writing. It's always there in your research proposal. So after that, you now look into evidence of importance, where you do some preliminary results, informs methodology. Why is your work important? What are your findings? What category? How are they related with your base paper? Base paper is a paper that is very similar to what you are doing. So you look at what is your own limitation. What are the alternatives? Have you compared your work? Let's say you use one algorithm. Have you compared with another algorithm? What are the weaknesses? Why is this algorithm better than the other algorithm? What will your research do? That is very important. This is where it comes out in research limitation. Then in contribution, you come back to the same introduction. Now you are no longer talking of what, why, how, but you are talking what, how, why. You are now, this is what you did. This is how you did it. This is why you did it. You are now more certain. You are now more sure of what you are doing. That is where you also have the importance and the future works in there. So I took time to explain that and how to read them and bring out novel ideas in a paper. No copying. For quick overview of any research paper, I want to read a paper. I don't have the time. I have so many papers. I read the title. I read the keywords. I read the abstract. Then read the introduction, read the conclusion. By the time I've read this, I already know what the paper is talking about. I will know, okay, oh, yeah, this paper, I will need it. I will need it in my research. Then I can now browse the whole paper quickly. I give attention, remember, to the figures and the tables. And where do you get these papers? If you want to cite them for your review, IE Explore, Science Direct, Google Scholar, ACM Digital Library, web pages of researchers, or repository. Repository is what most schools have. If your paper has been accepted, you send those papers to your school will put it in their link without sharing it, because it helps the school to calculate their points in terms of citation, and then it helps the school ranking. Also, most schools have repository, and then sometimes you put it also in ResearchGate, and you hide it, because some journals by license, especially when they are free, if they are not open source. What is open source? Open source means it is free for everybody, So, and to get open source, people pay for it. But if it is not open source, that means you publish and you are not paying anything. The journal will be selling the paper, And sometimes even yourself, you want to download it. You're like, pay $20. You're like, it is my paper. You have access to it, but you have the original copy before acceptance. Then you can also keep that for yourself. Now, how do we increase? So when you now know how to write paper, how does it increase your H-index? Collaborate. How do you increase it? Like I've said, collaborate with more matured researchers. Have mentors, more than one, more than anyone sent. When I was starting off, I sent a lot of emails to people, some never reply. One person sent to me and he was so surprised. I replied. We're like, hey, you replied me that he has written 20 professors. Nobody replied. 20 professors, nobody replied. So, and he said, and you replied. I said, because people, nobody replied. So, but the ones that will reply will help your H-index. Collaborate with them, choose your journal carefully, publish open access so that people can cite you. Use everything, publish open access. Think about your audience when you are writing. Network, connect with people. That is what it means. Connect. That is the secret. of more papers. And your idea that you have will come up when you connect with people. Work on your writing, show up on social media, like LinkedIn, especially, that is more scientific, you know, in terms of job, so that somebody can link you and say, oh, yes, this person is good here. One of my students from Pakistan, you know, I've never seen him. For 3 years, he has been working with me. But last year, you know, because he published papers with me, my friend saw him and wrote him and said, Suleiman, do you want to do PhD? And he said, yes, I want to do PhD. And then he took him. As we are speaking now, he's in Sweden doing his PhD. His salary, because Sweden has, you know, different schools. Sweden has, they pay for PhD. That is, they pay PhD students, unlike UK here. In UK, you pay as a student, except if your supervisor has funding. But in Sweden, in Finland, in Netherlands, in Denmark, you know, you can get PhD as a job. So his salary in Sweden is more than a professor's salary in Pakistan. You know, so that is the good thing. So H-index is an author level metric that measures both your productivity and citation impact. Now I have told you it's now being used for work. You know, those days I got discouraged. I said, I won't write any paper because my papers were always rejected. And I'm like, this is a good paper. Why are they rejecting it? Now I know better, because most of the journals have percentage of 20% acceptance. So they want to reject 80%. Whether it is good or not, they reject it. But if you connect with the right person, your paper will pass through. So, and I have H-index of 17 means I published 17 papers that have all been cited 17 times. My H-index will become 17. Don't go and someone say, oh, give me your paper, let me cite. You give them one same paper. One paper out of your 17 papers is 100, while the other ones are 0. It will not give, it will only give you one H-index. So your paper citation must be balanced. You know, 17 papers cited, each 17 times will give you 17 H-index, and it will help you in job and all the things you are doing. So citation index are there, more possibilities of improving and assisting, but how to write a good paper is to make sure you follow this method. If you follow it, you will become one of the best writers and your research will make sense. Okay, this is my thank you, Dats. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Iwendi, for that very comprehensive presentation. I think it's very enlightening, especially to have the opportunity to receive insights from yourself as an international professional. And I'm sure we've received many new knowledge that we haven't heard before, especially from Indonesian professors. So let us now proceed into the question and answer session. If any of the participants would like to ask a question to Professor Iwendi, you may write your questions down at the chat box. Or if you would like to speak directly, you can use the raise hand feature and I will call out your name and allow you to unmute and speak into the microphone. So give me a minute to check if we have any raised hands. Okay, maybe before moving on into the questions from the participants, I would like to begin with my own questions to Professor Iwendi. So Professor, you've mentioned how there are many points, many aspects that we should consider when writing a paper. So just a question to wrap things up, as a journal reviewer yourself, what do you think are the most important aspects that you're looking for when reviewing a paper? And based on your experience, perhaps, what are the aspects that most frequently becomes the reason of a paper to be rejected when it is submitted?
A paper is rejected when I can't see the reason. Like number one, if I look at the abstract and the abstract doesn't tell me the detail or what, why, how was done, or where the data was gotten, or a lot of abbreviations, or in introduction. Every introduction must have contribution. You have your contribution in that, and then you have levels of work. What else? Like chapter 1, chapter 2 will be this chapter, listing all your work you want to do. Now, I'm someone, I hardly reject paper. Why? Because a lot of my papers were rejected and I got very discouraged. I practically stopped writing. I started back writing because I felt it is now needed for job. It is needed for school ranking. I started, in fact, when I started my PhD, I write every week. I would say to my supervisor, he would tell me, man, you are disturbing my life. And then when the papers were rejected, and I was like, why? Is it because I am from, this country or that? No. It was now I now know better, So I hardly reject paper. What I do is, anyone who reject paper now easily is because either they don't have the time, or they are rejecting because they want to satisfy the journal 20%. So some of you listening to, maybe your paper has been rejected. They were rejected because most of the time, 99%, is because they want to satisfy the journal. Journal cannot publish everybody. And when I have special issues, so I'm telling you from insider, special issues, some journals are like 20% acceptance rate. So I asked the AEIC, I said, it's not fair. It's not fair because I've told 60 of my friends, and 60 of them have sent in paper. Who will I reject? So I told them personally, I said, this is unfair treatment, but that is what is obtainable. That is what is obtainable. I said, it's not fair. So when I tell my friend, I said, maybe you submit two papers, 3 papers to the same journal, then we can consider one, because if you submit only one, there's tendency that it will not even get to the guest editor. It bounced from EIC. In fact, you won't even see it. It gets to the editor from the desk, EIC, editor-in-chief, and boom, it's already forgotten. And then you are like, oh, then you now come back, you're like, what did I do wrong? Oh, does it mean my idea is wrong? No, every idea is perfect. The only thing is the process that is wrong. The current process is wrong. But it's just that, big schools are doing it, big people are doing it. But for me personally, I'm telling you from my heart, it is wrong system. So, and for you to know, so that when your paper is rejected, don't be discouraged. If one journal rejects your paper, take it to another journal. That's what I tell my students. One reject, take it to another place, because you may have sent to a place where they are working on rejecting many, so that it will be as if the journal is perfect. It's tough, the journal is tough, it's not tough. No, it's not tough. It's just the process that makes people discouraged in paper. So when you have one paper rejected, try other venues. One will accept your paper. One will have space to accept your paper. Or connect, network with the right people, and your papers will not be rejected. Okay? So your idea, if it is perfect, if you have followed my flow chart in writing your paper, I bet you that paper is already good.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Professor. We will now begin to deliver the questions from the participants. We have several questions that we received. The first one is from Mrs. Nurul from ITB. Her question is, do you have any tips so that our paper will be guaranteed to be submitted? I guess you've kind of answered this, but if you want to elaborate, you may. But she also asked another question, which is, do you have any recommendations for places or institutions that we can apply to for scholarships or fundings to fund our research or publications, especially when using the Indonesian currency? Some journals may be relatively expensive to be.
That is why I said connect with people. I tell my friends, I said, if you have good paper, like I've said, if you have good paper, good idea, check out my profile, add me in your LinkedIn, and then send me, when you add me, I will always respond. and then we can discuss your papers, and then I will help you find a place. I already have, in fact, I sent 15 venues to my friends last week, and I'll tell you, oh, this is it, send in. Now, if you don't have funding, I can also help you get funding. In other words, I can help the paper to be funded. All my friends in Sweden, for example, if you have a friend in Sweden and they are ready to collaborate with you, when they publish paper with you, the schools pay for those funding. UK doesn't have it. Sweden has it. Denmark has it. So if you have friends in all those Scandinavia countries where I've come from, we have those ranges. So I use most of my friends. Some friends in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, they have those funding. Oman, they have those funding. So that's why I say connect. As an IEEE senior member, I know a lot of people. So if you have good papers and you have taken time and this is good paper, he has followed all the styles, then I can help you, if it is my area, to look for someone who can help you in those funding. But I've told you, if you have friends in these places, they can help to fund your paper publication. Then the tips, I've given you the tips already on how you can make a good paper. Follow those flowcharts. Already check. In fact, you cannot be the judge to yourself. If what you have is based on those things, if they are based on them, then your paper is good. The English, I always said English, you may not be perfect in English. I don't look at English because I could help you to make it better. But I looked at this process. If those processes are there, the English so we can give it, if I don't have the time, if someone, I can push it to a native speaker. That's why some journals will say native speaker, who will help you rewrite, make sure that the English is perfect. Sometimes they accept the paper and they will tell you, make sure you correct some of the English. But the idea.
Sir, before we continue to the second question from the participants, the committee would like to share the questions on the screen so that it is visible for everyone. Okay, so the next question is from Nicola from University of Ciputra. The question is, what if we've searched and gathered a lot of information from various sources, but haven't been able to find a unique idea? What is suitable for the topic of the paper? And if we have almost the same idea with several sources on the internet, how do we develop it without plagiarism? Thank you.
Okay, I think I mentioned this before. I said in every recent paper, look at their future work. Look at their future work. In your idea, somewhere, somebody has done something related. What is their future work? So their future work means that it has not been done. And the more recent paper will give you more better idea of what you want to do. So you are permitted to run with somebody's future work using their paper as base paper, and that becomes your own idea. That solves it. The problem is you have not gotten a research paper, that matches, that is current. Because you say somebody is suitable, but somebody has done it before. It's because it's old. Look for a recent paper in your idea, close to your idea. Look at their future work. Write it down. Blend it well. It will always be different. That will become your own work. So because they have not done it, you can now improve on that. And when yours is better, it's part of the thing you say in conclusion, why our work is better than the work that was your base paper, sorry. So that will solve that question.
Okay, thank you, Professor. And maybe we have one more question. We have time for one more question, and we have a participant that has raised her hand. I will allow Mrs. Roprop Latifatul Mila. If you would like to ask directly, you may unmute and you may speak.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. For the first, I'm so sorry because I can turn on my camera because my internet is unstable. Okay, I want to ask something for Mr. Iwendi. how are we preparing to write purely for research paper for research purpose with the difference in preparation for academic research to continue our studies. Maybe for me for master degrees and do question is what do you think about the tools for online paraphrasing to reduce plagiarism on the internet, like onlineparaphrasing.com or many more tools for paraphrasing online? And can we use it because this feature is very easy for students and how to achieve a lot of publication, but also have a good quality too, since science time for being a student at university. And maybe I very appreciate when I know that your publication is so many more, and I want to be a next researcher for the future. Maybe this is my question. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I'm trying to, because you have so many things at the same time, so I'm trying to pick them. Let me start talking from the ones I can remember. Yeah, now I've forgotten what else again. Okay, all right. Now, because you were saying so many things, I was trying to put the words together. In terms of, don't worry about citations when you are starting. Sometimes you see some of my friends say 100,000 citations. I'm like, whoo, when will I get there? Those systems for your research, for how you write good proposal, whether master's or PhD. When you are talking about masters, it's still the same thing with PhD. It's not a PhD, like I said, PhD is knowing more and more of lesser models, like 4 models. But I'm not going to, if it's masters, I'm not going to do all the models. I'll pick one, But in PhD, I can come back to the same research and I pick the other models. So PhD is always, sometimes, if your supervisor is not giving you idea, I always like my students to have their own idea, not just giving them what to do. Because if you give a student what to do and he's not interested in it, or he doesn't have passion for it, or he doesn't have detailed information about it, or he cannot use those hardware or software very well, then it becomes a problem. The student will be suffering, it will be struggling, to do that research. So I am one who always wish my student, I say, come with your idea. I sit them down. Apparently, I'm the research coordinator for the school. So I call students on telephone and we talk. The ones who can come on this, who are outside the country, they call me on telephone. And then the ones who are in the country, I invite them. We sit down face to face. And I'm like, what is your idea? So based on their idea, I can now say, okay, oh, you can do this. You have done this. I want to do this and that. My job is to streamline it to make sure they don't have verbal, too much idea that they can't finish. It's not every research, too much idea, like someone is saying, I want to check security on IoT. I'm like, hey, stop there. Security on IoT is like a whole books, but if you want to say, I want to check some algorithms of machine learning and security in IoT. You see, now I am coming home, so you don't use that word, security of IoT, or cloud security. It's a whole. It's a whole course, a whole program. So you choose, you centered your idea to specific things, not bogus. So be very careful with that when you're choosing topic. You can do those ones, security algorithm, it's still very wide. You can do it in some master's program and show 1 or 2, at the end. But in PhD, we want you to be simplified with that. Now, what do you use to check plagiarism? We use Trinitron. It's one of the best, because it helps to check how much plagiarism, and academic ways people are using that. So that's what we use. And it has much more better way. If you have friends, remember I said connect. If you have friends, Trinitron, check the plagiarism. Don't be embarrassed when they say, oh, you copied. No, make sure you check it before you send in your paper. In fact, before I accept any paper, I will tell you what is the plagiarism rate. If you tell me you have not done plagiarism because you don't have, I send it, I check, and I'll say, okay, is this? Oh, good. Then we'll begin from there. I'll say, okay, then let me go through the paper. That's the first thing I check before I go through the paper, because I don't want to put time reading a paper, and when I now check, I discover it's 7. I saw one after I've read it, and I saw 70% plagiarism. You see, I've succeeded in wasting my time to read it without checking plagiarism. So check plagiarism first when you have a paper, so that it will give you confidence that the person, okay. And you also make, when you see you have high plagiarism, go back to where you copy those words, write them in your own English. Write them with your own understanding. Cite them, but write them in your own understanding. Plagiarism will show you by color, the books, the place, anywhere you copied. And then it will help you to progress how you write. Okay, I think I've answered all your questions.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I was informed by the committee that we have time for one more question. So okay. I'm going to pick one more from the screen. So,
yes, let me rush all of them. Now, can you suggest me for fast publishing Scopus in the journal? In that way is there, and they're all in dollars, 2,000, 1,700, 2,000. You see, I'll tell you, easy thing. Easy thing is connect with the right people. Connect with the right people, let them pay for the journal for you. Don't bother about, when you're writing, don't bother about the cost. Write good paper, connect with the right people, they will help pay that journal for you. MDPI, all the journals, that's why there's no one particular, all the journals that have open access, that collect money, we have access to them. So connect with the right people, that is settled. Number 2, you said earlier that if we want to cite someone's work, we have to paraphrase it. Practice doesn't make perfect. It is perfect practice that makes perfect. The more you do, the more you know. The more you read, the more you understand. That is what makes you a master in understanding people. Don't use computer. When you see someone say, oh, you are photocopying too much, I say yes, because I like to print it out. The problem with us is because we are using too many computers. So you copy and put in your work, copy and put. But when you print out, so if you know you're having that problem, try printing out to help yourself. For not always, because they will say you're wasting paper, but try printing out so that you can write back in. If you try it in 3 papers, you will master that. That becomes your own idea. English can be changed to any level. So the other one, in writing research result, could there be emphasis from certain parties so that we change the data or conclusion of it? Yes, a lot of some people write for people, and then especially in COVID, for us to get COVID data, we use in Wuhan. Some of you know how tough it is, with the Chinese government. So sometimes it is very difficult. Sometimes where they give you data, we tell you, please, this data is only for this paper. So you have to obey them. It's privacy. That's why I say ethics. Where you get information, ethics. If they say don't put, because it may become a legal issue. All right. I want to ask the speaker to understand the new topic that we just learned for the first time. I'm a new learner in machine learning and image. I think this topic I'm interested, want to explore. How can we get interesting idea to start and find Google. How you understand every area, Google, everything is in YouTube. You use your YouTube or Google and see the idea where to start. Machine learning is hot, artificial intelligence is very good. So Google to know the basics and how you can combine it with your studies. Okay, everything you need is online. Search for them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor, for that and going through the questions. However, I received a request from one more participant that wants to ask a question, and if you would allow me to read it out, and if you may answer this last question. It is given in Indonesian, so allow me to quickly translate it beforehand. So the question is from Zahra. She is asking, So she has an interest in sorry, Zara, can you explain your question, because I'm sorry, I cannot get what you're trying to ask. Can you explain it in Indonesian and I'll translate? So I think this is what she means. She is asking about the role of parents in making sure that the research is successful. So I'm guessing that this person is a parent and is trying to advise or trying to raise children that will become researchers. So do you have any advice for parents that are listening to this talk on how they can raise their children to become researchers?
So for parents to take care of that is expensive. You know, what I did, my son spoiled 3 iPhone and 2 laptops for him to be in research. So that's why I say it's expensive. Allow your children to make mistakes and push them to do the same thing all over. After spoiling 3 iPhone, now you can fix iPhone. That's why I say it's expensive, you know, because of where we have come from. You're like, oh, you are wasting money, you know. If they don't waste money, they will not get knowledge, you know. So failure is part of success for children. Allow them, but don't scold them in such a way that they won't want to try. So as a parent, be someone who allows failure, allows your children to learn by their mistakes. That is what I use for my kids. It's expensive, but you know, so many things get spoiled. And you know, in Europe, you don't hit a child, you know, so you just talk to them. But now it's very good. But it took 3 iPhone and 2 laptops before he knows what he's doing, you know. So it could also be on the minimum part, but the important thing is give room for mistakes. If you give room for mistake for a child, but give the process, lay down the process, the child will always follow the process. And even as a leader, give room for mistakes. You don't just say if someone failed once, it's a failure. No, don't conclude. Give them room and the child will bounce back. That is my advice for parents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It's nice to know that we have participants not only from students or academia, but also the parents community. Okay, so thank you very much. I would like to thank Professor Iwendi for joining us this afternoon. Personally, as a graduate student myself, I am very grateful for the knowledge you have delivered today. We have received many, especially points and aspects that we haven't heard before, especially from Indonesian professors. And I think it's a good way for us to listen to international speakers to make sure that we are in par or able to compete to the international community. But Professor, before we let you go, on behalf of the committee, I would like to offer a small gift of appreciation. So for this afternoon, we have a symbolic certificate for Professor Iwendi as a symbol, as a token of thanks for the very informative talk that you have delivered on this webinar. Can the committee show the certificate on the screen? Okay. As a symbol of appreciation to Professor Iwendi. However, the committee will send this certificate and also the placard to your address as soon as possible. So maybe lastly, to end the session formally, if Professor Iwendi would allow, I would like to request Professor Iwendi to give any closing remarks or closing statements to close the session.
Yes, I want to thank every one of you for participating today. Like I said, the committee can share I'm on LinkedIn, so you can search me. I don't think we are too Celestine Iwendi in LinkedIn. So you can search me, add me. And if you have good paper or you need an advice or you need to come over for to do your PhD or your master's in UK, especially in Bolton, I can assist you as a research coordinator because your application will actually come to me, So I want to tell you, I started from low place and I am high. Don't ever think because you're from Indonesia, because you're from poor home, makes you not to be accessible. I think I'm the only colored person in Sweden as board member. When you say Sweden, Swedish people are white, but I'm a board member. I'm trying to tell you, you can be anything you want to be. Dream it, and you will become it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Professor, for the very kind remarks, for the advice, for the friendly offer, and also the presentation that you have delivered this afternoon, which I believe had been very beneficial session. And of course, we look forward to further collaborations with you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And on that note, I would like to end, and I will give back the floor to the MC. Thank you very much. Good afternoon and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Prof. Iwendi, for your explanation. It's really nice to hear your explanation. And thank you very much for Mr. Said for hosting such an insightful discussion. And I hope this will be very beneficial for all of the participants. Well, we move to the next agenda, gifting ceremony for Mr. Said from all the committees for your availability to be a moderator for today. And I hope today's session will be memorable for you and of course, beneficial for all of us. Thank you once again for your time to be our moderator for today. And here is, sir, the symbolic of your certificate and placard of appreciation. And we are going to send to your home as soon as possible.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Well, everyone, finally we've arrived at the end of the session and we move to the award ceremony. And here we will announce the three best paper and the best paper. And after that, we will announce about two best best presenter from room A and also best presenter for room B and the lucky door prize winner. Well, let's jump to the announcement. First, the best paper won by the paper with the title, The New Strategy Schizophrenia Service for Indonesia, which the author are Marisa and Husna, K. Setiawati, R.H. Haryanti from Department of Public Administration, Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas 11 Maret, Surakarta, Indonesia. Congratulations, Miss Marina and teams. Well, here is yours. We're gonna announce first the best presenter for room A. Yeah. The best presenter for room A is Prof. Latifatul Millah from the State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. Congratulations with the title Agro Innovation and Technology, Integrated Smart Farming System based on optimization of state agriculture and renewable energy in improving sustainable agriculture product commodities. Congratulations. Okay, for the best presenter for room B is Mr. Rido Arishandi from Kementerian SDM, from School of Electrical Engineering and Informatics, Institut Teknologi Bandung. Well, congratulations for Miss Latifa and Mr. Rido for winning the title, and congratulations for Miss Marisa and team to be winner of the best paper. And I would like to invite Miss Marina as the best paper category. Here is your certificate, Ms. Marina, as the representative of your team, and also we'll give each of your team a certificate. We will deliver a certificate to you soon. And once again, congratulations for your team achievement. Thank you. And the next, okay. Well, For the best presenter of Room A, Miss Prof. Latifatul Millah, congratulations. And here is your symbolic certificate. Well, and the next, the certificate for the best presenter of Room B, Mr. Rido Arishandi. And here is your symbolic certificate. Please, the committee, capture the moment. Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, everyone, best paper category is decided for the highest score of the full paper that's scored by reviewer. And then best presenter category is decided from the presenter performance on today that's scored by the judge team. And for other presenter, you've done your best for the competition. We're really proud of you and we wish you all the best. And for the next, we will announce for the lucky winner for the door prize. Okay. Yeah. And here are the lucky winner. First one is Tian Nuputomo from ITERA and Talita from UGM. And for the second day is Nanda Revania and Frida Haryani. And for all the winners, please contact the 9 Adiwidya Committee by direct message to Instagram account Adiwidya ITB or by phone number. You can see on the slideshow with the format, Instagram account, _full name, and _ phone number. Congratulations for all the winners. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the end of the session for the 9 Adiwidya. Plus, I would like to invite our head of the 9 Adiwidya Committee to give closing remarks for this annual agenda. Mr. Riki Romarudin, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haryo. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. To Honorable Professor Iwendi as our speaker in this session. And then thank you to all our participants in this webinar who will attended all of our agenda in Adiwidya Committee. Let me introduce myself. I am Riki Komarudin, representative Adiwidya Committee. For this occasion, I would like to give a closing ceremony speech. Adiwidya event is an annual event of the Prescriptive School of ADT, and in this day is last our event in Adiwidya, but not last for our meeting. Hopefully, in the next year, the invited guests will be able to attend the same event again. From the review of the event that has been carried out by us, the first on our talk show is about smart education. We know that education in human is an important key to producing the system technology. And in the second talk show, we talk about smart technology, where economic effort of to the country for sustainability. So how the economic will meet a suitable case for smart city. And the third of our talk show is about smart technology. As we know that in the future, technology will drive some working case. In case the customer will be answered by chatbot, the machine operator will change by automatically in artificial machine. And in this day is the last of our event in international webinar and call for paper. Hopefully, with the idea that has been given by the participant of call for paper, we can contribute to the progress of the new mother country in Indonesia. In our next agenda, in post-event will be further contacted by the committee regarding the publication of the selected paper. Once again, thank you to all participants who will contribute for this event. By this time, the Adiwidya Event Postgraduate School of ITB is closed. For me and of our committee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kikomorodin, for the closing remark. Before the session over, we will have a photo session. So I'd like to invite all of you to open your camera and give your best smile because this is the last photo session for us. And please, committee, give the spotlight to our keynote speaker, moderator, chairman of Camil 2021, chairman of the 9 Adiwidya, and others. While waiting for everyone ready, I'd like to tell you that don't forget to fill the list of attendees and evaluation today in the link that's shown on our slideshow for claiming your certificate. Well, we have several slides, 7 slides, I guess. If everyone ready, we're going to start photo session. Okay, let us check first. Well, I think everyone is ready now for photo session. Please, the committee, we're gonna start with the slide 1. Well, give your best smile for the last. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. For the next slide, please. 1, 2, and 3. Very good. The next slide, the third slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now is the fourth slide. 3. Nice. And then the fifth slide. 1, 2, and 3. Well, next. 1,